Happy July 4th, everybody. Before the annual American Fireworks Show this evening, here is another 4th of July tradition, the Fans of Games Game Room / Game Collection Updated Tour. So, this year, honestly, there's been a lot of stuff that's changed, mostly in the game closet, but there are a few elephants in the room that I will address. In terms of the game room itself, so not a whole lot new on display necessarily. We still have the same Lego pieces that were here before. But speaking of the Legos, I did do some rearranging of the Bowser set, the Mighty Bowser set with the mini NES. This was showcased in a similar fashion in last year's game room tour, where we have Bowser playing the Mario TV, except back then I had the TV on top of the NES, whereas now I have them separate with the PS5 controllers on top of the NES. But also, Bowser's on a bit more of an angle, so rather than just looking at his shell the whole time, if you're sitting on like the side of the couch here playing a game, you get a side profile of Bowser playing, which I just thought looked cooler. So there's a slight change to the media center in that regard. Also in this section, since it is here, the only new amiibo that we got this year is the Classic Colors Super Mario Bros. 30th Anniversary 3D 8-bit Mario amiibo. So now I finally have both of these, and since they are undeniably the coolest amiibos I own, those ones are out so that anybody who comes down here can see them. And especially since we have both of them now, I thought it was just kind of cool to have them side by side. But also on the media center, we have another decorative piece. This is a Pac-Man ghost lamp. This is a third-party creation here, but it was just really cool. Right now I have it on one of its two settings where it just cycles through various different colors. And I thought that was a nice centerpiece here. Put it behind the Wii U sensor bar, since we need this space open for that anyway. But there's another setting on the back here, if you flip the switch this way, where apparently it reacts to sound. So like if you're playing music loud enough, then it'll like dance to it. I've never really gotten that to work, so I just keep it on the color circulating through the colors. But yeah, another cool piece that we have down here just to add to our lighting. Like we have the tornado lamp and now the medieval times crowned 8-bit Mario lamp. I actually don't think I've turned this on since the last game room tour. I'm kind of curious to see how many of the bulbs still work. All right, so the bottom one still works, middle one doesn't, and that one, the third one definitely does not. So this mostly stays off now, but it's been officially crowned king of lighting down here. It's a king now, so it doesn't have to work as hard as the others. Sorry for jumping around, but there's just a lot of stuff I wanted to show you guys here. So next to the Pac-Man light, though, we have an entirely new docking system for our Switch. I'm blanking on the name of this right now, but you can find it on Amazon. I'll at least put the name and text below this right now, but I'll also try including a link to this in the description as well, so you can buy it. It's a really cool third-party accessory that allows you to charge all 4 Joy-Cons, 2 Pro controllers, and the Switch at the same time. And it doesn't use any new power cords or anything. It uses all the Switch's power cables. So like all this is what we've had going to it before, the AC adapter, Ethernet, and HDMI. Those have gone unchanged. But what it does is there's USB ports that go into the side USBs of the Switch dock so that it can charge the Pro controllers and the Joy-Cons. It even gives you these LED indicators here to showcase when they're charging or when they're full. It's kind of weird how they mount upside down, but is what it is. So they come with these this little nubby like accessory here that you put into the USB-C port on the Pro controllers, and then it rests, makes contact with these pins. So then when it's charging, it rests in there and it turns red when it's actually drawing any power. That won't be red for long though, because I mean, as you saw before, they were fully charged, but whenever you take the stuff off, it needs to charge for a little bit. Same goes for the Joy-Cons here. You still have to push the back button to release them. This does have somewhat of a tight grip, so it's kind of hard to do one-handed, but it goes in real easily too. And to my knowledge, there is no specific way that the Joy-Cons need to be facing on this, whereas with the other third-party charging stand that I had, and you guys would have seen in last year's video, that one, they needed to face a certain way. This one, to my knowledge, like I said, does not. There's the other Pro controller on the other side. This is actually a new Pro controller. We decided that it would be worth it to purchase a second, like, officially Nintendo-made Pro controller instead of like those licensed third-party ones. Like we have one of those already, the 8-bit Mario one, or the Super Mario Bros. One, but that one doesn't have a rechargeable battery or rumble, so we decided to just buy another one of these. That way it was also symmetrical, because, if I remember, I'll try to show you guys this, the Hori or the officially licensed third-party Pro controllers don't fit on this. These cradles for charging were specifically designed for this model of Pro controller. So if you don't have those, then you're kind of SOL, but I guess you can still charge your Joy-Cons. Speaking of Joy-Cons, there's a little cradle on each side to hold the Joy-Con grip, which I find kind of nice. Although I don't know how many people have two grips. This is just the one that our Switch came with, and we never bothered to buy a second one because we just don't use them that often. But you could also have two grips on there. On top of all that, you can store 10 different games to have on display and like at a moment's ready for use at any moment at all times. So that's really cool. This is usually where we would be storing all of our most frequently played games and also like the new ones, basically the stuff that we're playing the most. I had to swap some stuff out, so don't take what's on here as like an accurate depiction of what I'm actively playing right now, because a lot of the new stuff that you guys will see was on here, but I took it off for the purpose of the video. There's also a little storage drawer down here for other accessories. We just put like the manuals and stuff in here because it's just easy storage. And I think it also comes with a spare Pro controller charging attachment. I don't think this would work with the OLED Switch though, just because the OLED Switch is bigger, but I mean, it might, I don't know. I think as long as it still has the two USB ports here on the OLED, then you're probably fine. But this does work with the original Switch models, I know for a fact, because that's what we have here. Now, the only other change on the top here is more of like a technical behind the scenes sort of thing. We have a new HDMI switcher here now because the old one just completely stopped working, which it was about time that happened anyway, considering that thing was probably about as old as HDMI itself. So yeah, this is a new 7-port HDMI switcher. If that interests you, I'll also try finding the link that we use to get this on Amazon as well. Because what's really cool about this is, well, besides the fact that it has 7 ports, it's also remote controlled. So you can press the buttons to change the different inputs, but you could also use the remote. You can turn it on and off too, though, I mean, it draws minimal power, so we usually just leave it on. And it remembers what you last had it set at, which is really cool. And the remote is radio frequency or not radio frequency, IR based though. So like you have to have it pointing at the thing for it to work, or not. It's weird. Sometimes you have to point it directly at it and sometimes you don't. Maybe because I'm close to it right now, it still is counting. Or like it still reads it, but I don't know. That's the only complaint I have about this, is that sometimes the remote doesn't work. Oh, well, yeah, it uses IR. It even says it right there. Maybe if the GameCube is in the way, like if we're on the couch and the GameCube's in the way, then it won't read it, but otherwise it works fine. But yeah. And since we now have room for the extra HDMI ports, we haven't utilized all of them yet. I do plan on eventually putting the mini NES and SNESs out here, but I gotta find a place to put those on here and make them look nice. Though we did put the Xbox One down here to have at like a moment's notice as well, in case we ever wanted to use it, just because we have the extra HDMI ports. So that's really the only new console change out here. Otherwise, the Wii U's still here, GameCube and Switch are still up there as you guys saw, and the PS5 is still down here. So that has not changed. And of course, Wilson, the wall-mounted TV, is still here with us as well, going on strong. And before we get to the game closet, I guess I'll show you guys what's on the coffee table here. I mean, as you can see, we still have the Pac-Man arcade, like I briefly mentioned earlier, although now we have some, we have a shark and 2 polar bears on it. Me too decided to put those on there, just because he thought it was funny, and it kind of is, but yeah. I don't really know what else to say about that, so we'll move on. Here we have a tissue box. You might not think that's very important, but we have it out here for our guests just in case, you know, we accidentally humiliate them in Mario Party 4 or something and, you know, they need it. And last but not least out here, this was a last minute gift from my grandparents, this little mini Pac-Man arcade thing. Pac-Man always faces the same way, so that's kind of weird. Oh, didn't even realize I grabbed that. Alright, well, you get the point. That's out there, just because we also have the Lego Pac-Man thing. All I need now is a full-size Pac-Man arcade. Got the Lego, we got the mini, now I need a full-size. Maybe one day. But that's pretty much it in regards to the game room. No new pictures or anything on the wall. So, with that, I suppose let's go into the game closet. I did a lot of cleaning up here because the last few times there's just been so much extra stuff up here that just didn't really make sense to have. So, I did some slight cleaning up. So yeah, no new posters or anything really. But the elephant in the room, I'm sure you guys saw, we do have these medieval times flags as well, just because I wasn't quite sure where else to put them. So figured why not just have them in here for now. So I guess we'll start off at the top here. There's just miscellaneous like accessories, random toys we had, and of course our amiibo collection up here. This was something I found a little more recently. Well, the Yoshi egg we've had but now it's just kind of been in here along with these other old, or not old, but like older Mario toys that I've had from my childhood. So we have a Tanuki Mario figure here. Be careful with that, he's kind of on a delicate balance. I get a good view of the Tanuki tail. There it is. On top of this color-changing Rubik's Cube, as you can see, like, depends on which way you look at it, what color it is. We have, oh, nice. We had a Goomba up there next to Tanuki Mario, though I don't think I'm gonna get him to stand anymore. Oh, there we go. We have 2 Yoshis and a Toad Mario Kart figures here. This Yoshi is just, he's a wind-up Mario Kart toy, so like you pull him back and it goes further. These 2 were keychains, although Yoshi's is the only one that still has his actual keychain bit. And Toad is supposed to be driving underwater like in Mario Kart 7 or 8 with the propeller on the back. And we thought that was just kind of cute and cool to put there. No new amiibos in here. Like I said, the only other amiibo change or new amiibo we had was the Classic Colors 8-Bit Mario that you guys saw outside. Now for the game shelf itself, this is everything new that I've gotten this year. It was a very Switch and I guess GBA heavy year as well. So why don't we start with the GBA games? I finally got WarioWare on the GBA. I've always wanted to try that ever since I got WarioWare Gold. And I heard that it was kind of like a compilation of all the other ones. So, I mean, it's pretty cool. It's just nice to have the original WarioWare game. It's nowhere near as fleshed out as some of the others, but WarioWare is also not supposed to be a super fleshed out series either, from my understanding, so just a cool thing to have. After that, we have kind of an oddball of a GBA game, Yoshi Topsy Turvy. I saw this and I just wanted to get it because, I mean, not only is it a Yoshi game and Yoshi's my favorite Nintendo character, but it also has the weird gimmick where, like, it has a tilt switch inside of the cartridge itself to register the tilting, which is like the main gimmick of this game is the tilting and how the tilting is utilized in the courses. So, yeah, that was a cool find. And on the same day I got that, just because I was in the mood to spend money that day, so I decided to pick up Game & Watch Gallery 4 as well, just because I've never had a Game & Watch game. The closest I've ever had to anything like that would have been Ball from the Super Mario Bros. 35th Anniversary Game & Watch that came out. So I got this because it had like some of those other classic Game & Watch games, but it also had the remakes and like Mario-ified versions of those as well, the more modernized versions with Nintendo characters and franchises that, you know, are more well known. So while I don't have any of the other entries yet, I figured, what the heck, I might as well start out somewhere, add something like that to the collection, because I didn't have anything quite like that yet. The new PS5 game of the year. This is number 3 on our list of PS5 games. This is a Me Too choosing, FC24. This is not a game that I've really played and not one that I bought. It's one of the rare occasions where I did not buy or want the game in question. So yeah, I don't really have much to say about that. I hear it's fun though. I hear the FC franchise is fun, and on the PS5, apparently the graphics and everything make it look really cool, and people enjoy it. This is a bit of another oddball here. I want to say that I mentioned this in one of the other game tour videos, or at least I had it, but I don't know exactly if I pointed it out. So I figured, what the heck. This may or may not be new to this this may or may not be the first time that I showcase this game. SpongeBob's Atlantis SquarePantis for the Nintendo DS. Why did I get it on the DS? Because it was a SpongeBob game on the DS, and I saw it at Half Price Books for a good price, and I was like, screw it. That's literally all it was. I was kind of in like a SpongeBob craze at the time, where I was like, oh, I gotta try collecting SpongeBob related things, and this ended up being the only thing that I ever actually collected before I got out of that phase. I had mixed feelings about this game. It's very crude in the sense that like it just doesn't seem fleshed out. It doesn't seem like it was meant for the DS, and I think that was kind of the consensus, was that it was kind of a bad decision to put this on the DS. But hey, I have a very weird way of playing SpongeBob Atlantis SquarePantis. And besides, I think this was the only entry that was released on a Nintendo console at the time. I don't think it was on any Nintendo home console. It might have been on the GameCube or Wii. Probably GameCube, but I couldn't find the GameCube one, so I just decided to buy the DS one. Again, it's fun. It's a fun, mindless game, but at the same time, it's very annoying, and I don't care for the controls. Next up is another. It's a game that I bought on an impulse. Game & Wario. I know that there's probably a few people asking right now why I would buy this game right now. And that's a great question, because this was an expensive game. This was I think this was the most money I've ever spent on a game. And it's like, Game & Wario of all games? Like, come on. I had my fun with it. I played it for like a few hours and spent time unlocking a lot of the games, and it was just some mindless fun. And at the time, I was more into like collecting Wii U stuff. It was towards the end of 2023 when I was still like, ooh, I gotta get the Wii U stuff that I never got when the Wii U was still like new and everything. So I decided to pick that up. And my mentality at the time was, since the Wii U was not a very popular system, that the games for it would never really go down in price, especially this one being among the rarer games to find, and it was the only one I'd ever seen. So I was like, all right, well, it's here. I might as well pick it up before someone else takes it and then I regret it. So I don't regret getting it. I just think that I could have been a little more patient and waited for the value to go down. But I don't know, the value's probably still pretty high on this thing, so hey, now I can say I have a rare game now. This is probably the rarest game I have in my collection, to my knowledge anyway. Either that or Rhythm Heaven Fever. Next up, we have Super Mario Maker for the Wii U. I don't believe that I even had just the disc for this in the last Game Room tour. I think shortly after that, I found just the disc of this without the idea book or this box at Half Price Books, and I bought it. And I was planning on just buying the idea book separately at some point. I sat on it for months, never bought the idea book. Then I went back to Half Price Books and saw this here. So I picked up the box set. It has the idea book inside of it, which I didn't realize no longer works. So I spent that money on something that I can't really even use, which really sucks. But hey, I guess now I have it. It's something to add to the collection, and I guess a piece of Nintendo history that I can help preserve. But it's also kind of cool to have like a box set Wii U game, because I have something similar to that with Nintendo Switch Sports over here for the Switch. So even though I can't really use this for what I wanted to use it for anymore, and actually like utilize the idea book content and like use the codes and everything, it's just still cool to have. And who knows, maybe one day there'll be a way that you can still use or at least like see the videos or stuff that was unlocked with the codes somewhere if someone somehow archives it. But yeah, just another collection piece to add to the Wii U collection here. And now, all the Switch stuff. Super Mario RPG. Oh my gosh. This was the first time that I ever actually finished the original Mario RPG on the Super Nintendo. We had the mini SNES, and I played it for a few hours on there, but I never really got far with it. I don't know what it is, but like something about the remake just... It was so well done. I can't put that into words enough. It was so well done, and I had so much fun with it. I think I spent like 3 weeks throughout the course of the end of the year of 2023 beating it. And that wasn't like playing consistently. That was just playing whenever I could. But there was like a solid week where like all I did was just play this. And like I said, they did an incredible job with it. I know that I'm not the first person to gush about this game, but my goodness, I gotta give credit where credit is due. This remake was absolutely amazing. And I kind of don't want to play the original after playing this, just because this improved so many things about the original that I didn't like before. So I don't really have a reason to go back to the original other than just saying like, oh, I beat it on the original and the remake. Which, who knows, maybe one day I will, but for now, I'm beyond satisfied with this. I literally 100% of this game. I maxed out every single character and partner. I beat all the secret bosses, including Culex. I don't know how. He took me like 3 hours by himself in his rematch form, but I somehow did it. And yeah, that's that. I think I gotta stop before I run out of things to say about it. Next up we have Mario vs. Donkey Kong, which is the most recent of the new games that I've played so far. I didn't realize at first that this was a remake. I thought this was like a new entry in the series, but supposedly it's a remake of the GBA version. So that was really cool. Again, because of how well they redid it here, I don't think I'd ever really want to go back to the GBA version, but who knows, maybe one day I'll do it again. This was a lot of fun though. It was cool to actually like have like a puzzle platformer game. I've always wanted to try the Mario vs. Donkey Kong games, but I never really had luck finding them anywhere in any like the retro stores, so having this remake was like perfect for that. And yeah, it was just a ton of fun. Next up we have Princess Peach Showtime. This was a game that, even from the trailer, I had a feeling was going to be a lot of fun, and it absolutely delivered. I haven't gotten too far in it yet, but I've enjoyed everything so far. It's such a unique concept. The fact that like you're playing through what's essentially like a play. I mean, some could probably say like, oh, it's kind of bridging off of the idea that they had with Super Mario Bros. 3 on the NES, where it's like you're walking off a stage at the end and everything is stage elements. That's why you see the board is like screwed in and everything. But like the fact that you're actually like an actor acting in these plays, like with the costume changes and like, it's almost like a platformer RPG. I don't really know how else to describe it. It's like a platformer that has an incredible story behind it. And just really fun gameplay to back it all up. So, again, incredibly fun game. Next up, my goodness, Super Mario Bros. Wonder. I think I've said this before, but I'll say it again. What the heck were they on when they made this game, man? I mean, it's so much fun. It's so cool, like all the different ideas and stuff that they had for it. Like, this is a 2D Mario like no other. Literally, like, especially coming from the new Super Mario Bros. Series that was very stale. This was the breath of fresh air that 2D Mario really needed. And yeah, it finally gave the Switch its own, like, 2D Mario identity that it never really had. And they just knocked it out of the park. Just like Mario Odyssey with 3D Mario, I don't really know how they're going to top this. But if they just go buck wild with like any idea they have, then I think they can make it work. And also, it's really cool how we get to play as Blue Toad again. Yeah, I'm looking at you, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. Next up, we have the most recently released of the new games that I have, Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door remake on Switch. I don't think any of us really saw this coming, but as I saw someone comment on one of the Mario RPG release trailers, I think it was the Mario and Luigi release, or Mario and Luigi remake trailer that's coming out, or not remake, the new Mario and Luigi game coming out for Switch. Someone commented, like, we're in a Mario RPG renaissance, and they weren't wrong. We got the original Mario RPG on Super Nintendo coming back, we have the most beloved Paper Mario game coming back, and now we're having a new Mario and Luigi game. At least I think it was a new one. I'm blanking on it now, but yeah, so there's not much for me to really say about this yet because I haven't spent a whole lot of time with it. And the same thing goes for the GameCube version. I actually went through quite a hassle trying to get the GameCube version because the original ones that I got from GameStop didn't work. Yeah, it was my mistake trying to get those from GameStop, but I finally got one that worked. And I don't know what it was, but I just couldn't really get into it. I think I tried it at the wrong time where like I wasn't really into RPGs. Like Super Mario RPG really did change that for me. It changed my opinion on RPGs. And now like the Mario RPGs, like I'm replaying the Paper Mario games right now. I'm gonna continue working on this one. Like I said, I haven't gotten too far in it yet, but I hear it's a incredible game. I mean, there's got to be a reason that like it's so well loved among so many people. So I'm looking forward to what it has in store. And lastly, WarioWare Move It. Just because it's a WarioWare game and WarioWare games are funny. That's why we wanted it. Again, I haven't spent a whole lot of time with this one yet either. It kind of seems like it's almost like a sequel to WarioWare Smooth Moves with how much motion control is involved. But I don't know, this almost seems like a spin-off WarioWare. Like, WarioWare in itself is kind of like a spin-off of the Mario series because Wario would have his own games. It's almost like a Game & Wario, but instead of like relying on the two screens and like the gamepad gimmick, this is relying on the Joy-Con like movement gimmick. That's the best way I can think to describe it right now. But yeah, that's all of the new stuff, new games and whatnot that we have collected this year. It was quite a bit, especially with like the Switch stuff coming out. I mean, these were all, even WarioWare, it's the one that I've spent the least amount of time with. It's still really cool, everything that we've gotten since July of last year. So yeah, it's just amazing. I had a lot of fun with all these games. I'm running out of words to describe it, so I'll just leave it at that. I had a ton of fun with these games. Moving on though, we have the controller bin here, still just with the GameCube, Wii U, and Switch controllers. Here's the third-party licensed Pro controller that I was talking about. Let me show you this real quick, because I did remember. Let me try showing you guys. It does not fit on here because the top is just too wide. So like, it sits, but it doesn't sit well. And you can't put it like this. It has to be like, I guess if you put it just like that, you can have it sitting, but this was obviously designed for the original Pro controllers, or the official Pro controllers, because this is like anchored in there. This one's not, obviously, because it doesn't have the little piece on it. But yeah, so nothing changed here. No new controllers for the other systems. Here we have my immediate small like video stuff. So I had a new microphone set, a wireless lavalier mic. I'm not really a fan of these. They amplify my voice a little too much, so it doesn't sound natural. It sounds kind of stuffy, even when it's not, or even when my voice doesn't sound stuffy in real life. So yeah, I sometimes use them, sometimes don't. But here we have my camera remote and capture card. Next to that, we have this Ethernet, USB Ethernet thing, or adapter, new 3DS XL, GBASP, DS Lite. Those I just have out for whenever I feel like playing on the original hardware. Up here we have gaming literature. Last year the Art of Cuphead book was not here for some reason, but it's back. Still have it. Nothing new on this end. Still only have those 2 Switch cases. The Sugarfina Nintendo Entertainment System stuff is still here. Switch Sports box is still there. All the other consoles are still here. PS1, SNES, N64, and NES with their controllers and wires and everything all here. That's supposed to be over here. Oh, but something that did change was how I organized my Wii and GameCube games. So I decided to finally combine the Wii U and GameCube stuff together because there was it got to the point where I couldn't fit the Wii U and Wii stuff together anymore. So the Wii has its own bin because it was the one that was like overflowing with games the most. So now Wii U and GameCube share a bin, and this works perfectly actually. I just keep the Mario Maker thing on the side. Game of Wario can fit in that slot, so everything fits. And the Switch now has its own bin as well, besides like the miscellaneous DS games I have on the side that just fit in here. I used to have some 3DS games in here as well, but with all the Switch stuff, it just wasn't working. Even, or especially before we had the stand, where I could actually fit like 10 games, where I could still store 10 games not in here, there's just too much. we have too much Switch stuff to put, or to have it share a box with more than just what the DS is, or what we have for the DS right now. Another thing though, this is actually a new controller. Almost forgot about this actually. I finally have a set of DK bongos for Donkey Konga 2. So, whereas last year I couldn't actually like play the game really because I didn't have the bongos, now I can. I got these shortly before, or like, I got them in the fall of 2023. Found them at my local retro game store and decided to pick them up just because just how wacky these controllers are. That, and since I had Donkey Konga 2, I wanted a way to actually play it, and I thoroughly enjoy it. I enjoy Donkey Konga 2, especially since like Rhythm Heaven Fever was so fun. You can't really compare the two, but like if you're in the mood for a rhythm game and want it to be a little more chill and like with songs that you would, well, maybe not recognize anymore really, but they had a good mix of public domain and like songs that were popular at the time from actual artists on there that weren't just composed for the game. So yeah, it was a fun change of pace there, and a fun thing to add to the collection as well. Now I just gotta get Donkey Kong Jungle beat so I can I can have the platformer that was designed to be used with these. So yeah, just more organization here. Just NES and SNES has its own bin. N64 still has its own bin. And now we have a box of 3DS games, Xbox One games, and DVDs just kind of piled together because they all fit. Nothing new down here really. We still have the Xbox 360 there with 2 whoopee cushions on it because why not? The Wii right there, miscellaneous Xbox 360 games, random accessories, and the mini consoles in there. Some more stuff I have for YouTube, the Intellivision over there. and just random garbage on the bottom. Nothing really new in terms of board games, except I did get Uno Party as a birthday gift at the end of last year. So this is kind of cool. It's fun to play with friends. I actually spent New Year's playing this with some friends, so good times. Then the only other new thing is that I now have a projector as well, from my grandparents' new house. They didn't want it anymore, so I decided to take it. I don't have a place to use it right now, but I've always wanted a projector, so now I have one if I ever want one, or if I ever find a use for it. But guys, that's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed this video and taking a look at what has grown in terms of the game collection this year. For those of you celebrating 4th of July Independence Day today, happy Independence Day to you. And with that, again, thank you all for watching, and remember, stay cool, everybody.